the case for so many of these games, and I just don't know why so many people don't understand that. And it's disappointing for me to see this happen, because a lot of, and this is what I was saying before about how, like, you know, people get hired for jobs and they shouldn't be hired for the job. There are a lot of people that they have, like, on paper an understanding of, like, what things should be, but they don't understand it on, like, an intuitive level. That's the problem. Do devs even play video games anymore? No, they do. It's just that they don't understand what makes some things popular. I think that's it, and that's the problem. That's the reason why League of Legends has a hard time finding new players. Oh, well, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of reasons. Like, I'll tell you this, right? For League, for me, if they ever decided and they said, you know what? We are going to make a new League of Legends. We're going to make a brand new game. We're going to reset all the characters, and we're going to do everything else. You know what's going to happen? You're going to have tons of people who are going to come back around, and they're going to come and play the game. I would play League of Legends too, but I'm not going to play League of Legends. Like, I remember, like, all of them, like, they were making a team. I think it was, like, Emmy and Soda and them. And they're like, oh, do you want to play League? You should play League. You should play League. No, there's too many characters. It's too complicated. I can't get into it. Like, if I want to get into a really complicated game, I'll go play Civilization or something like that, right? Why the fuck would I go do that?
That before on my channel. I haven't watched Severance season 2. I just finished watching Squid Game. It was cool. And then I finished watching Modern Family. Yeah. Ew. Chromatic aberration. Okay, I have no idea what this is. Fuck it. But I think I saw some streamers. I think Lyric might have played this. Where did everyone go? Alright, where did everyone go? Someone planted a hidden explosive in the scooter and it detonated just as you walked past. Okay, I think I get it. I think I get it.
Hey, you.
We just gotta get to the other side, I guess. Don't walk in front of that car. Walk behind it.
Hey, you.
No bomb here. Improperly tightened bolts let the AC unit slide free and it shows you as its target. Fuck is this? Okay, I'm walking on the street. Shifting ground beneath the street light destabilized it and you were caught in its collapse. Oh, PB? I've never been this far before. Stay away from all the cars and all the poles and all the walls. Oh my god, I'm so far. I'm so far now. Wait, I think if I go here. Bikers. Okay, Oh. Oh. Okay. Okay. Don't walk close to that. Don't walk under any sign. Don't walk on that. Nothing can touch me here. Oh, hello. Huh. The cone isn't explosive. Okay. Where am I supposed to go? Fuck! Old age and years of neglect caused the street light to collapse and end your journey. Hold up the fucking fireplace. Repeated stress weakened a streetlight cover time and it broke just as I walked underneath. Isn't that what I walked last time? I walked here? What? I swear that's what I did. Okay, that's not... Okay, if the scooter isn't there, walk straight forward, okay? Dude! Neglected maintenance... Shut up.
Hey, you. Hey,
Move! A loose mounting bracket caused the pipe to sag and rupture, leading to a sudden explosion. Okay, well that had to work because I tried every single other thing. A neighbor loosened a dish to prank someone, but you were the one who paid the price. Ace unit was cursed and you became its next victim.
hey, you.
Let's run! Okay, so how do I avoid this? This should be fine here, right? Okay. 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 Nothing can hurt me here. This is fine. That's not going to fall on me. Okay, that will fall on me. So, let's go over here. I'm untouchable. I am not walking under that sign. Nope. I'm going left. Okay. Cone. Okay. What's up with that cone there? Wait, do I have to go on the right? Or, yeah. Let's go on the right side. Ah, fuck. I'm gonna have to walk under this. Fuck you, I fucking knew it! What am I supposed to do then? Man, are you kidding me?
After the explosion in their apartment, neighbors next door alarmed local law enforcement of the incident. On arrival, officers searched the unit and found no trace explosion reported.
Think you'd get me with that one, huh? I don't think so. It's not even anyone driving. You just lost an argument with a computer. Okay.
Hey, you.
What do you mean the bucket exploded? The garbage can spontaneously combusted, and you were too close to escape the deadly fireball. Okay, how do I get out of this situation? Walk here, dead. Walk there, dead. Walk there, dead.
Hey, you.
Oh, wait, I think like this. Ah, yeah. Oh, don't go here. That's gonna combust and kill me. Go this way. Fuck you! Someone intentionally sabotaged streetlight. Okay, I go on the right. Like this. Okay, I can go on the right side. There is no pole here. I go left. I can go here, no problem. Nothing should kill me here. I go right side. No, if I go right side, that's gonna kill me. If I go left, that's gonna kill me. If I... Okay. Okay. I'm fine to walk. That will clearly kill me. Go left there, hug the corner.
After the explosion in their apartment, neighbors next door alarmed local
Okay.
law
That car kills me. Why? How do I avoid the car killing me though? Maybe. No, it's gonna explode. That shit will definitely explode. What if I go here?
After the explosion in their apartment, neighbors next door alarmed local law enforcement. Searched the unit and found no trace explosion.
Malfunction refrigerator on unit inside the vending machine overheated and exploded, taking you with it. It wasn't termites or rust that brought the balcony down. It was you. Yeah, I'm live this weekend. Yeah.
After the explosion in their apartment, neighbors next door alarmed local law enforcement. Upon arrival, the officers searched the unit and found no trace explosions or any incident at all. However, the family expected that from their
Will you fall this way?
Hey, you. Hey, you.
Oh, fuck you!
The moral of the story is that if you could make good choices, you wouldn't play this game at all. Late.
I made it over there, so I can go over there at least. That's good to know.
Hey, you.
After the explosion in their apartment, neighbors next door alarmed.
You can't even faint though. The game locks you the moment he starts driving. Berserk, thanks 32 man. Moral of the story is that if you could make good choices, you wouldn't play this game at all. Atomic Hugbot, thanks 10. Az, thanks for 6. Rika, thanks for 6. Knife, thanks 16. Vukrees, thanks for 23. Light? That's why it worked last time. It was green. Gotta wait like a good Samaritan, I guess. Okay, walk under here, dead. Walk forward should be fine. Walk there, dead. Walk there, dead. Walk here should be fine. Walk. Ooh. Will that really fall that far? Seems kind of far. Let me go here. That's gonna blow up. Okay, anything can drop on me here? No, not really. Okay, I'm still alive somehow. Okay, that pipe looks really sus. Don't walk under that. Don't walk too close to... What do you mean? That wasn't even close. That wasn't even close. Ah. That was as far away as it could have been, dude. That's crazy. Okay, definitely can't walk there because that will blow up. Okay, wait. Okay, the package isn't here anymore, which means I can walk here. Right. Okay, I hear that. Let's go in on the road. I should be able to walk to the left of this pole and to the right of that pole. Don't step on that. Keep going. Nothing here looks suspect. Looks quite fine. Don't stay on the road here. Walk under there, dead. Walk here, dead. Well, if they're gonna turn, they should go here on this field. So if I walk forward here, I should be fine.
Hey, you.
That's gonna kill me. Will you drive or am I fine? Okay, that's gonna tip on me. I have to go on this side. Now, don't get hit by that. That bucket's gonna... Oh, fuck you. Okay, wait. Yeah, if I go here, I'm dead. If I go here, I'm dead. From that and that. So if I go left side, there's nothing that can drop kill me there. So I go there and go like that. And then don't go under there. That's gonna kill me. Keep going left side. Okay. Okay, I go here. Now going under there is a death sentence. No doubt. Yeah, that sign will definitely kill me. So... Oh. If I now go... I can't go there, because I'm fucked if I do by that. Maybe I can go on... this side. Will this sign not hit me because it's above the balcony? I don't really know.
Hey, you.
Because then I can go here, and then I can go here, and then I win? Maybe?
Another victim.
Because going here, I'm definitely dead from that scooter, no doubt. And going here kills me. So the only choice I see is here. Okay, so what the fuck was I supposed to do then? Oh, idiot.
Oh, yeah!
ran a bit too close. Whoops. Pretty interesting. It's pretty good. You can probably beat it, I think.
Hey, you.
No sleep yet. No, not yet. Soon. I gotta pack my skiing gear and shit, but yeah, not yet. No need yet. We continue from night 2.
Hey, you.
What was it? Was it called? Nightmare? Paranormal Night Shift. Paranormal Night Shift. Shift? Shift? Alright. Continue night 2. So this is just like a long arms elevator type of game. Sunday will be the stream. 7 a.m. it starts. Oh, there's actual cutscene?
I can't believe it. I was shaking all over.
Shit. Wait, this is max volume?
In the 5 years we've been doing this job, it's the craziest thing we've ever seen. There's a real poltergeist in this house.
Yes, and frankly, she seemed really angry both with us and with the Sheffield family. Are you sure you want to go back tonight, Gary? It's too dangerous, I think.
Don't worry, everything's going to be fine. Now that we've finally got our ghost, we're not going to let her get away. I got in touch with a friend at the Edmonton police who told me that the house was built in 1756, which is quite a long time ago. He's going to find out if a Judith could have lived there, or if she appears in a local register. In any case, the more we know about her, the better. So tonight we have to gather more clues.
It's not a good idea.
Can I like aim
That
up or
Judith
something?
doesn't want to be disturbed.
No?
This is not time for weakness. It's a huge opportunity for us.
Yes, I know, but I'd rather be anonymous and alive than famous and dead.
Stop stressing. It's just a ghost that moves things around and makes noise. By the way, speaking of noise, the Sheffields have told me that they've been hearing noises in their storeroom recently, so I've taken advantage of the day to install an extra camera. Let's go and find our poltergeist. It's going to be an incredible night.
If you say so.
Okay. Sounds good to me, bro. What is that emo? The blokes, I think?
Back in the house.
Okay, so it's the same house again.
The Sheffields have 2 kids, and as you can imagine, the house is very much alive. So things might have changed since yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Just a heads up.
Yeah.
Take a good look around before you tell me you're ready.
Okay, we gotta take a look around, chat. This is what it looks like without any anomalies. Alright? Remember this. Back seating is fully open here. Unless you're wrong, then you get banned. No, you don't. It's fine. Yeah, it's changed since yesterday. It's gonna be kind of weird to keep track of because I'm used to this bed being like this and shit. Oh my god, this room is chaos. Yikes. Okay, we're ready. Let's go.
Here we go. It's going to be a thrilling night.
Alright, look for mysterious shit. Oh, let me move top left. Okay, that chair, there's a head in the chair there, so that's pretty fucking weird. PS1 LA incoming. Yeah, the grass moves like that's like the wind or something. You gotta save, live to 6 a.m. Too many anomalies equals death. I don't see anything more sus thus far. Seems pretty calm to me. Reporting in. Yeah, both dinos were fallen already in this one. Nothing sus there. The pattern is the same. That looks good. That looks good. I think most things are fine. Yes. Haven't seen anything more weird thus far. I think I might actually be dead because I can't literally spot a single thing in these. It's just you got it's a good memory trainer, you know? It is. Was that always brown? Probably. You don't lose anything by testing it. Okay, there's gotta be something that's off now. Like, was that? There was another really good memory trainer game, but I forgot the name. Oh. Huh. I haven't seen anything weird. That was always open, I guess. Okay, we survived the first hour. Bread box was open. It was. Oh, there's a hand being cooked here? Oh, we're getting too many anomalies. There's too many anomalies when it starts like... When it starts like zapping on the screen. Now we're fine, but there's definitely more anomalies somewhere. And we have no idea where they are. Tennis ball on floor on... Wait, did I just get that? Oh, this carpet was wrong?
Hey,
I just clicked it because it felt weird. Wow. 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 Tennis ball? Nada. Nadísimo. There must be more than that. Bedroom 1 box near track. Was it always there? I believe so, but I can click it and check. Billy Nang, thanks 37. Schnuderi, 38 again. Thank you. Pick if lady in double bedroom changed. In double bedroom. Pick of lady? Wait, something is sus though. Yeah, something just happened. There's blood dripping somewhere. Oh, wonder where it could be, huh?
Elden Ring.
Oh, Elden Ring.
Hey, you.
A body part? Interesting. I wonder if it's not a clue.
A clue. A clue. Clue, you say. Lady on the back wall. I mean, I'll click it. Maybe she's holding something weird, hard to see. Seems normale. Está normale, por favor.
And bang, up the butt.
Ow. Ah. What is that sound? Did you hear that? Oh, yeah. Oh, it's probably that. Huh? What was that? What just happened? Midnight. Teddy? 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 You see Teddy? Teddy? Oh shit, you're right. Nice one, chat. Let's go.
Hey, you.
Belial 52 and Evlar thanks 17 and Uno thanks 33. Yeah, chat after. Oh fuck, there's too many anomalies. What? We just cleared.
She appeared. You should have seen my instrument. It's much stronger than yesterday.
Ghost in living room. Thanks. Yeah, chat. Tomorrow I'm traveling to the skiing event. Sunday, stream will start 7 a.m. It's gonna be. I'm doing one of the biggest cross-country skiing events in the world. At least I'm pretty sure it is. It's gotta be, right? All being live streamed for Save the Children here on this channel. I did it last year also, but I got disqualified. Lol. Surely not the same this year. So tomorrow I'm not streaming. And then after the event, I'm going to be gone Monday and Tuesday. Well, I'll be on Mika's stream in Stockholm. There's double coat hangers here. Was that there? There's got to be more, dude. There's got to be more. I don't know, man. How's the weather report for Sunday? Plus 4 degrees. Yeah, we should, CB. We should. No doubt. But it's going to be a really, really, really sick stream. Uh-oh, too many anomalies. I'm not seeing shit. It's really over, isn't it? Are we going to lose? I'm not seeing anything. Pot missing in kitchen. Oh yeah, skiing jorts. Pot on kitchen table. Wait, like here? Pot here? Pot there? On top of fireplace? Okay, I click. Above fireplace. I click. Yes, good, 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 good. Okay. Oh, I got an achievement for that. Cool. It was in the family since... Okay, no time to lose. There's still more... Oh, yeah. We're up again. Dude, I can't see shit. Dinos in kids' room are normal. I'm pretty sure. Fuck. I'm not seeing anything weird. Bucket is fine. Extra tennis ball under the rack storage room. Extra box near chair in garden. No, this is fine. That one's fine. Shit, it's flying fridge, bro. Okay, we got it. Next. Okay, we don't have the shakes now, but there's definitely more anomalies. Yep, they're back, they're back, they're back. And I don't know what's wrong. Is that wrong? The point of the game? Spot the difference. No, in this night 2 Milo, they're both down. Both dinos. Dude, I'm not seeing anything. This is ridiculous. We're gonna die. It's so over. Yeah, I'm not. Nah. 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 Yeah, but we're pause buffering. I'm pause buffering to see if I missed something. We're fucking dead. We're dead. We're dead. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything different. Maybe the pillow's here. Wild guess. It's over. It was a good run, but it's... Yeah, no. I'm not seeing anything. Kitchen table back left. Wait, kitchen table back left? Wait, what? You mean like here or what? There's no chair in the bathroom. What the hell is different here? I don't get it. I don't see anything different, dude. I don't get it. I'm just gonna click. Bathtub? What? More up. Other end. Kitchen table pot.
It's gonna break! Do something!
Back left. Here? You mean here?
Oh, what a fear. The indescribable.
Okay, we need more.
I wonder if we're not taking a risk after all.
That was some good job. More. Very nice find. More. We need more. More shit. The fucking book. Wait, is that lamp a bit weird? Lamp's a bit weird. I think the lamp's a bit weird. Toy car track, pink car. Blood! Head! Dude, we are just hanging on by a
Head now. And a man's head. That
Oh
can't
my
be avoided.
god. What did I miss? Toilet paper? Pot on kitchen table is fixed, yeah. Toilet paper on toilet. Okay, I'll check it. Very nice. More. Picture on bathroom door. Poster in the bathroom. Okay. Yes. Very nice. Very nice. More. Knives above the stove. Yes. Blood in the glass. Oh my god, we're actually making a comeback. Oh, this room is fucked, dude. We never find anything here. Oh. Chat, I saw the glass that was full, alright? I saw that. I did see it. Okay, we're not shaking anymore, so that's good. But I'm sure there's more anomalies. Blood clothes? Nah, that's just a red shirt. But I'll do it anyways. Grill moved? No. Uh-oh, we're shaking again. We're officially shaking again, okay. But I don't see anything weird. I do not see anything. The picture in the room has been changed for a while. The picture in the new room? The new room. Oh my god, it's going mega crazy now. The new room? What is the new room? One bottle living room above couch. Yeah, that one was there. Donna toys? No, they're fine. What? Storeroom. Wait, what was in here?
The problem is everybody is rating this in these extremes. I am the only person that's fair. Everybody else isn't fair. Everybody else is biased. It's only me that knows the right score. And it's a 6, all right? The game is a 6. You think it's a 5? That's fine. You think it's a 7? That's fine. It's not an 8, and it's not, maybe it's a 4. It's not a 3. It's not a 3, and it's not an 8. Those opinions are invalid. Why is that? Because I decided that. And I'm right. And I'm not the thing is, this is me being humble. I find it to be very interesting where people are giving this game a 1 or a 10. Am I crazy for thinking that a 1 or a 10 are probably both biased answers? And this is the problem. Like, I tried to be as accurate as I can be. A 0 and a 10? Yeah. And let me see, what are the other one? What's the other game? Let's see. Assassin's Creed Shadows review. Okay. Yeah, here we go. A 5 or this is, guys, come on. Am I crazy for thinking that all the 5s and all the 1s don't count? It's obviously a 5 at best. No, this is guys, this is a score of 1 to 5. It's a 1 to 5. I don't agree with your take. You never played Assassin's Creed. You don't care about Japan. But for people like us, it's a 2. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. If you want to come into it and you have that opinion, that's totally okay. But what I'm saying is that, here's what my point is. With a lot of these video games, they get review bombed, and it's by people that haven't played the game, that don't know anything about the game, that play it for 0.1 hours on Steam, and then they immediately refund it and say it's bad. And I'm sorry, every review is valid, and I'm not saying that they have no right to review it, but don't expect me to take that seriously. That's all. That's my only point. And I think the exact same thing with the 5s. The game is not a 5. If you think Assassin's Creed Shadows is a 5 out of 5, you're a retard out of retard. No, you're a fucking moron. No, it's not a fucking 5. It's not a 1 either. I am acknowledging not everybody has to have a 7. Or a 6 like I do. But it's not a 9. It's not a 10. And it's not a 1 either. And can we just acknowledge the dishonesty in these reviews? These are people that made up their mind on the game before they even played it. What's a 10 for you? Okay, I went the wrong one. Games that are a 10. Metaphor's a 9.5. Fuck. Sekiro. Those are my these right here. These are my Hall of Fame 10 games. Oh, classic WoW. These games are a 10. They are perfect in all ways. They do what they are intended to do perfectly. They are amazing. Ocarina of Time, that's my second favorite, but this one's my favorite. I know this is a 10. So anyway, and guys, I haven't played a lot of these other games. I never played Red Dead Redemption 2. Maybe that's a 10 also. Maybe one day I'll play it. But yeah, no, I have games that are 10s. Now, my rating system is the most fair rating system out of all rating systems that have been made. And everybody knows this, by the way. That's why everybody's watching the videos and they're talking about what my opinions are. It's because everybody knows I'm the most fair. That being said, I do have games that are 10s. I do have what's a 1 then? What's a game that is a 1? How about that? Ones are scam games. That's right. Yes. You consider this a game? Yes. Yes, I think that this is a game. It's a garbage game, but it's a game. Yes. Check your library for some. Let me think of some other games. All right. Name a game. I'll tell you what the rating for it is. Okay? Let me do this. I'll do it right now. I'm going to pull up the chat. You guys are going on the stream. You're going on the screen. You're on the screen. Let's get it. Okay, Brood War, probably a 10. Pirate Yakuza, 8.5. Bloodborne, 9. Maybe 9 to 9.5. Among Us, don't care. Armored Core, 9.5. And Black Desert, like 6 to 7. Diablo 4, 7 to 8. If you're a casual player. Gollum, 2. Probably actually 2 or 3. 2 or 3. And Superman 64, probably also a 2 or a 3. And Ark Survival Evolved, a 3 to 4. And let's see here, Retail WoW, I don't know, it's like, is lame a number? I don't know if it is. Monster Hunter World is, in my opinion, a 10. Monster Hunter Wilds is, in my opinion, right now, it will become a 10. Right now, it is a 9. It's a 9 to a 9.5. And let's see here. Perfect Dark, I don't know. Metroid Mega Man, I don't know. I didn't really play a lot of those, honestly. Metroid Prime was like, I would say like an 8 or a 9. Valheim was a 9. Actually, 8.5. Valheim was an 8.5. 8.5 to 9. Dark Souls 1 is a 9.5. It loses the 0.5 because of the unfinished nature of the end of the game. And so Dynasty Warriors, I don't really play that. Let's see here. And as you can see here, I'm fair about everything. And Dark Souls 2 is a 6. Actually, probably like it's like 7 or an 8. Yeah, I'd say 7 or an 8. And yeah, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I haven't played enough of it to have an opinion to be confident about the opinion. Red Alert 2 is a 9. 9 to 9.5. And Metal Gear Solid 3, I never finished the game. And when I played it, it was like 15 years ago. I don't remember. Avowed is a 6 to a 7. I think that I think my original rating of a 7 was inaccurate. And after playing through the entire game and doing it on the hardest difficulty and completing everything, I would actually rate the game a 6 and not a 7. And let's see here. Here's another games. Super Smash Bros. Melee, that's a 10. Smash Bros. Melee is a 10. And let's see here. I can find some more of these. Witcher 3, I haven't played everything about it. And let's see. Super Mario Brothers 3. Super Mario Brothers 3 is a 10. Absolute flawless 10. It's not even a question. It's a 10. Yeah, absolutely. Old PUBG, 7. Let's see, what else? How about Ninja Gaiden 2? 8, because of the camera. If it wasn't for the camera, the game would be a 9.5. And Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, 9. Let's see, maybe 8.5, but I'd say 8.5 or 9. Closer to 9, in my opinion. Let's see here. Fuck, let me scroll down again. Okay, Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, 8.5. Dragon's Dogma 2, 8. 8 to 8.5. Hogwarts Legacy, 8. And 10 if you're a Harry Potter fan. Guys, here's the truth. Every opinion that I have about these games is the correct opinion. And I think people are starting to realize that. And that's why everybody's talking about what my opinions on games are. They are. And that's it. And it's not, the thing is, this is me being humble, right? Like, I'm not saying that all my opinions are correct. It's everybody else that's saying that. I'm just simply repeating what they're saying. I'm not saying this. Other people are saying this. So, We're done listing out games, okay? We've listed out enough fucking games, all right? And what about gotcha games? Well, we can look at those and decide. And anyway, the experts are saying, well, they're not experts, okay? If they were, I wouldn't be paying attention to them. I'm the real expert because I'm not an expert. And so I think that with every single video game, you can guarantee that I will play it and give it a fair, authentic, accurate, unbiased, and reasonable review. Every single game. Every single time. And I do this all of the time. And that's the reason I think why like people like watching my reviews of games. It's because I'm the only guy that does that. A lot of people want to give opinions and say, like, it would be really popular for me to have played Assassin's Creed Shadows and said that it's a 3 or a 4 and played into the audience. But I have integrity. And that's why I couldn't do it. I couldn't lie to you guys. And... Sorry. And I couldn't lie to you guys, and I had to be accurate because the truth is what really matters. And so, yeah, sorry, I was getting emotional about... Guys, it's not a 1, okay? It's just not a 1. It's not a 1, it's not a 5, all right? I'm just being fair, okay? It's not a 1, it's not a 5. I know you're pretty fair, but sometimes the way that you, sometimes the way a game is played plays a role. If you skip all the story, you have a different perception than someone who likes to enjoy the story. Every review that I give is going to be based off of the way that I played the game. But I'm playing the game in a way that I play games, which is like a fucking brainless, head cut off chicken. That being said, I think that I'm accurate. I do. And how about OnlyFans? Well, that's over. I guess so. You may give an accurate rating or something like that 6 if you played Assassin's Creed over time and you knew it to be the same slop. In my opinion, this is important context. No. Like, retail WoW right now is like between a 7 and an 8. But the difference is that it's not a 10 like Burning Crusade and Classic were. Like, that's like saying that, like, retail WoW is a 4 or a 3 now. It's not a 4 or a 3. It's just not what appeals to me. Like, I can look at something and I can see its value. Like, I can look at a dude and I can say, I think that dude is hot. But I'm not gay. That's not gay for me to think that. It's not, right? It's not gay, right? Is that gay? You're gay, but no, it's not gay. Okay, no, it's not gay. That's what I thought. All right, yeah, no, it's not gay. Okay, so my point is that if I can look at that objectively, and I know that, well, I don't see the problem. And I think the reason why a lot of people like watching the videos is that I talk about the topics in a
Resident Evil 3 strikes an interesting position in the Resident Evil series. This position makes it sort of a mixed bag. After 2 entries that had their feet firmly planted in the survival horror side of things, Resident Evil 3 adds quite a lot of action into the mix. While Resident Evil 3 is still obviously a survival horror game, it ups the intensity, pace, and general atmosphere of the Resident Evil series. And my overall feelings on the game are kind of complicated. It definitely isn't a bad game by any means, and some of the new additions are fantastic. The pressure and intensity of the newly introduced Nemesis enemy truly makes you feel like you're being chased. It's everything that Mr. X from Resident Evil 2 had, and just a bit more, because the pressure is so relentless. The new systems like gunpowder mixing and the new zombie types make things feel fresh. It sets Resident Evil 3 apart on its own, making it feel like its own entry in the series rather than just another upgrade. And the scope of Resident Evil 3's environment is probably one of its greatest strengths. The game has expanded to include the entire city. While this was just an implication in Resident Evil 2, in Resident Evil 3 it is a literal projection onto the realm of the world. The world feels bigger, bringing with it the background and history of the city itself, the suggested lives wasted, and the implicit routines destroyed. The backdrop of this game is no longer just a station that once used to house jobs, but a city that was teeming with life, now desolate and void of life outside of zombies and genetically modified monsters. But not everything in Resident Evil 3 works. The structure and pressure often feel like too much for the series. Those moments of great atmosphere and tension that were all too common in previous entries just don't appear as often in Resident Evil 3. The game overshadows that atmosphere with the rampant pressure and stress of the Raccoon City streets and the chasing presence of Nemesis. Personally, I don't think that this tone lends itself well to the Resident Evil format. I don't think that action is misplaced in the series. It would become known for action at a certain point in time, but in this moment, in this style, it wasn't exactly my thing. That being said, Resident Evil 3 isn't bad, it's just different. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. I'll be talking about Resident Evil 3, taking a look at gameplay, mechanics, story, and everything in between. If you haven't seen the previous videos in this series, I would highly recommend checking them out. Each of these videos is meant to represent a different era of the Resident Evil series, so sometimes I'll be talking about additional spin-off games that were released around the time that the central game was. While the story of Resident Evil isn't always the most important part, watching the other videos will give you context and perspective on the history of the series. If you enjoy this video, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as it really helps me out. You can also support the channel by subscribing to the Patreon. I'm currently watching and reviewing the Resident Evil movies exclusively over there, so check that out if it seems interesting to you. Spoilers for Resident Evil 3. Hey Dad, it's me, your favorite son, and today I'd like to talk about Resident Evil 3. The development of Resident Evil 3 is kind of complicated because it's tied up in the development of multiple other Resident Evil projects. After the release of Resident Evil 2, production began on Resident Evil 3 and multiple Resident Evil spin-off games. Resident Evil 3 was originally intended to be directed by Hideki Kamiya, the same director from Resident Evil 2. But as production moved along, the PlayStation 2 was announced, and this complicated things a bit. The original project with Kamiya at the head was meant to be centered around Hunk, the mercenary from the fourth survivor scenario in Resident Evil 2. The game was set on a cruise ship and saw Hunk trying to get a sample of the G-Virus to Umbrella. This project was shelved because it couldn't be completed before the PlayStation 2 was set to be launched. Because of this, Capcom decided to use one of its spin-off projects that was already pretty far along in development. This project was internally referred to as Resident Evil 1.5, not to be confused with the cancelled version of Resident Evil 2 that most call Resident Evil 1.5. This project was being led by a less experienced team because it wasn't originally intended to be a mainline entry in the series. But since the original Resident Evil 3 couldn't be finished in time, they had to make do. This project was directed by Kazuhiro Aoyama and was written by Yakuhisa Kawamura. Kawamura had originally worked as an apprentice for a manga artist named Yukito Kishiro. He wrote the novelization of Ganmu, but when it wasn't successful, he pursued a career in games. He was hired at Capcom and given the task of reworking the Dino Crisis script. After this, he was tasked with working on this Resident Evil spin-off game. Kawamura was very involved in the project, creating the scenario, boss stages, and was the one that originally conceived of the live segment mechanics. Kawamura will come back into the Resident Evil story when we talk about Resident Evil 4, but this spin-off game that he and Aoyama were working on had to become Resident Evil 3. Since it was originally conceived as a story where the main character would escape from Raccoon City during the events of Resident Evil 2, it didn't take much to make it a mainline entry. The team decided to switch out the main character for Jill Valentine and work the project into the overall story. Shinji Mikami was once again producer on the story, but decided to take a backseat early on and let the directors do their job. This shuffling around would eventually lead to a lot more hiccups and bumps when it came to Resident Evil 4, but before that, we need to talk about the third entry in the series. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis was released for the Sony PlayStation 1 in Japan on September 22, 1999, in North America on November 11, 1999, and in the EU on February 21, 2000. Before we talk about Resident Evil 3, I need to talk about the different versions of the game and which version I played for this video. Resident Evil 3 was probably the first entry in the series to not have 100 different ports. This was mostly due to the fact that this game wasn't nearly as successful as the first two. Most of this information on the ports I did obtain from these write-ups that the website Strategy Wiki has on each of them. The original version of the game was released on PlayStation. The second release was on Windows. This version of the game included higher resolution graphics and the ability to select alternative outfits from the start of the game. It also included 2 extra outfits. The Dreamcast version of the game was released in late 2000 and has the same features as the Windows version of the game. And finally, the GameCube port was released in 2003. This version had improved graphics and a higher frame rate for the cutscenes, though it doesn't have the extra outfits included in the PC and Dreamcast versions of the game. I originally was going to play the GameCube version of the game with the Seamless HD mod, just like I did for Resident Evil 2, but for some reason I had issues with this mod and found that it wasn't working properly. It was most likely something that I was doing, so I just ended up playing the GOG version of the game for Windows. This version of the game is upscaled a bit if you prefer that kind of thing, but also lends itself to replayability by offering you the ability to skip loading screens. Most of the footage you'll see in this video is from the GOG version of the game. Resident Evil 3 begins with a narration from Jill Valentine. She sets the narrative tone for our story. Jill is in Raccoon City, and before this story ends, Umbrella as a corporation and a presence here will fall. We saw in Resident Evil 2 that Chris and Jill were planning to head to the Umbrella headquarters to trace the company down at the source. Resident Evil 3 deals with Jill actually escaping the city, but in that escape, she'll get intertwined in much more trouble than she ever asked for. We then see groups of zombies swarming Raccoon City. The police respond in kind to this attack, cars and cops and helicopters and an arsenal of weaponry. They try to blast the hordes of undead but are quickly overrun. Umbrella soldiers all over the city face the same as they use every weapon at their disposal to try and push back the enemy, but lose in the end. I have to say that the FMVs in Resident Evil 3 are probably among my favorite in the PS1 era. They, just like the rest of the game, increase the scope of the situation greatly. Instead of groups of zombies, we have an entire army of them. Instead of invading a building, they are all over the city. Jill starts the game by saying farewell to her life and her home, and the game cuts in quickly, setting itself apart from the get-go by showing off its increased action and pace. Jill is launched from an exploding building into a nearby alleyway. She tries to escape the confines of narrow brick and walls, but only ends up surrounded by the undead. She ends up escaping into a nearby warehouse and finding a man named Dario Rosso, a salesman who doesn't exactly have the fighting spirit for this whole outbreak thing. He immediately rushes into a nearby container where he'll stay. He doesn't want to go back outside and would rather stick to the safety of this steel box. It's an understandable position to take, one that Resident Evil 3 will explore and return to once again. The choice that many characters have been faced with throughout zombie media. Do they try to escape or accept the safety of their fate? This is where our story starts. Jill Valentine is stuck in a warehouse mere months after her incident at the Arklay Mountains mansion, and after her realization that the RPD and the higher-ups were not going to do anything about Umbrella or their viruses. Her worst-case scenario is playing out right in front of her. Before we move on with the story, I'd like to briefly talk about the gameplay of Resident Evil 3 and how it compares to the first two games in the series. Resident Evil 3 works on a similar framework to the first two games. It is primarily a survival horror game presented to us through fixed camera angles. We aim down sights, rotating our aim to point our weapons at enemies, and changing the level we're aiming at to shoot enemies on the ground or above us. But Resident Evil 3 introduces quite a few changes when it comes to movement. The first of those changes are the dodge. If we aim down our sights and press the shoot button at the same time as an enemy is attacking us, we won't shoot, but instead we'll dodge the enemy's attack. This was an addition that I enjoyed in theory, but didn't really enjoy in the implementation. This is probably not the fault of the team working on the game, but that at this point in the series, the team's ambition was outgrowing the systems they were working with. The dodge doesn't really feel that great because we can accidentally activate it when we're trying to shoot at an enemy, but the player shouldn't care, right? Because they avoided damage in the end. But it kind of takes some of the agency away from the player. It kind of feels like an auto dodge in some ways, even though we are actively activating it. On the other side of that coin, the dodge adds a ton of movement to the action of the game. This is a trend that we'll see continued throughout Resident Evil 3, that the game puts an emphasis on fast-paced action. The other new movement tool that we've gained is that of the quick turn. This is an incredibly useful tool in our disposal. In previous games, if we wanted to turn around, we would need to slowly rotate our character 180 degrees before moving forward. But the quick turn allows us to do this instantly. It's a great feature, one that I have no complaints about, especially because this entry almost requires its use because of its design. Resident Evil 3 also sports the same framework when it comes to inventory management. We still have safe boxes where we can store extra items. We still have limited inventory space to store ammo, key items, and healing items. But the big difference in items comes from the new gunpowder system. In Resident Evil 3, we can collect 3 different types of gunpowder throughout the game: gunpowder type A, B, and C. We can combine these items to create different gunpowder types and use them with the reloading tool to create ammunition from that gunpowder. There's actually a decent amount of combinations in the game. Gunpowder A will give us handgun bullets, gunpowder B will give us shotgun shells, and gunpowder C will give us grenade rounds. Combining any type of gunpowder with C gunpowder will give us a variety of different grenade launcher rounds, and combining 3 gunpowder Cs will create magnum rounds. We also have a skill associated with creating ammunition. The more we create a specific type of ammunition, the more our skill will go up, and moving forward, we'll get more ammo from that gunpowder type. I really like this system because I think it provides more dynamic options for gameplay. If ammo placement around the world is fixed, then the amount of ammunition that we get for each weapon is fixed. Introducing the gunpowder system lets us choose the type of ammo that we'd like to create. If we want to use our C gunpowder to create grenade rounds, or save it all to create magnum ammo, that's up to us. It gives a bit more agency to the player and creates a difference in playthroughs. Also, focusing on one ammunition type means that you can get more from that ammo. Increasing your skill allows you to effectively get more bang for your buck when it comes to that gunpowder. This system would return in some future Resident Evil games, even being reintroduced in the Resident Evil 2 remake. Other than these additions, the formula of Resident Evil 3 is basically the same as the first two games. There are slight changes to enemies, gameplay, and larger changes in that of bosses and environments, but we'll talk about those when we get there. Jill eventually makes it out of the warehouse and heads into the streets of Raccoon City. This is the first time that we're introduced to the expanded scope of Resident Evil 3. Resident Evil 3 expands its world, something that I praised Resident Evil 2 for doing. In the first Resident Evil, the setting was simply a mansion, a large building constructed in the image of a confusing labyrinth, meant to disorient, meant to trap, to keep away. But it became the stronghold of the STARS members. Eventually, they found the secret underground lab, but the setting wasn't enormous. In Resident Evil 2, we were forced to take shelter inside the police station, an archetypal representation of control, of safety, arsenals, and force. But at the beginning of the game, we're thrust briefly into the streets of Raccoon City. And when the windows open up and the zombies start crawling inside, the scope is expanded. But this is where Resident Evil 3 starts, and where most of the game takes place, in the city streets. The environment is Raccoon City itself, and instead of just a singular location with some other buildings branching off of it, it's the entire city. This sets an interesting precedent, though, that we no longer have the safety of a stronghold. The protection of walls and a roof is completely gone. You could view those same walls and roof as a trap, but they at least represented a lesser evil. There was a filter on those walls, one that only allowed a slow trickle of the infected from the outside. In Resident Evil 3, that filter is entirely removed, and we are exposed to the source itself. No longer trapped in a cage or protected by a building, we are out in the elements. It's the danger of the open wilderness or the threat of the uninterrupted desert. That doesn't mean that we won't have access to different buildings in Resident Evil 3. We will travel to many throughout the course of the story, but we won't be locked inside of one for the entirety of the playtime. Raccoon City is the framing device for this entry, and it becomes a character in its own right, one whose fate is brought into question as soon as the opening credits begin to roll. Raccoon City, or at least the areas that we can traverse, are split up into two sections, uptown and downtown. Most parts of these areas are accessible by weaving through buildings, avoiding burning heaps of metal and broken down structures. It adds to the feeling of wandering through a broken city, and walking through these alleys and narrow passageways leaves one's eyes to wander to the backgrounds. The PS1 Resident Evil games have always excelled at their pre-rendered backgrounds, but Resident Evil 3's backgrounds feel like they tell a story. Little shops with broken windows, bikes left to rust away, cars abandoned. The places and items tell the tale of a city lost to the Scourge, captured by the armies of the undead. The battle is not being waged, it's already lost when we begin the game. As Jill navigates the zombie-filled streets of Raccoon City, she hears someone battling the undead in a nearby bar. As we enter, we see Brad being attacked. Resident Evil 3 takes place the day before the events of Resident Evil 2, so Brad Vickers, the STARS helicopter pilot, has not quite been consumed by the T-virus just yet. He's already heavily wounded and has accepted his fate. According to Brad, someone is hunting down STARS members, and he seems to think that there's no escaping it.
Listen, he's coming for us. We're both gonna die.
What are you saying?
You'll see. He's after STARS members. There's no escape.
Brad heads out the front door before we can ask him any questions. Nearby, we can find a postcard of the St. Michael Clock Tower, a monument that will become a lot more important later in the story. Heading through the streets, we can gain access to some new areas by burning cords around locked doors and entering new alleyways. Jill quickly happens upon the RPD though, and outside its entrance, Brad is facing an enemy that's far stronger than he can deal with.
We've gotta... Jill, help!
This is the introduction of Nemesis, our new primary villain for this entry. We're also introduced to a new mechanic here. After Brad is brutally killed by this boss, we're given a choice, either to fight with the monster or to head into the police station. This is the first of what Resident Evil calls live selections. We have only a few seconds to decide which choice we want to make. These live selection moments are presented throughout the entire story and will affect the version of the game that we play in various ways. For example, this first choice will allow us to either have a boss fight with Nemesis or to avoid that fight entirely. If we manage to kill Nemesis, then he will drop parts that we can use to assemble a better pistol. We can also get a key card off of Brad's body that will allow us to access a computer inside of the RPD that will give us a safe code for an easier path to a key item. Most of the choices in the game don't drastically affect the story of the game, they just sort of affect how the game plays out. There are certain choices that have larger, more drastic effects, but we'll talk about those later as we get to them. The live selection system overall is a good choice, and once again makes the system more dynamic. While our choices aren't necessarily going to determine if the main character lives or dies, but it will affect the path that we take through Resident Evil 3. This whole section introduces Nemesis as well. Nemesis is our equivalent to Mr. X in this entry. Nemesis will follow us throughout the entire game, even if we manage to defeat him outside of the RPD. He will chase Jill relentlessly through buildings, on the city streets, everywhere. Sometimes he will corner us and we'll be faced with more choices, whether to fight him or not. Nemesis sets himself apart from Mr. X, though, because of his general demeanor and pace. In Resident Evil 2, Mr. X was an overwhelming presence because at the beginning, he felt almost unpredictable. He would follow us throughout the game and was persistent but slow. He was a constant presence that slowly but surely would make his way towards you. It was the consistent thrum of perseverance and knowing that regardless, over time, he would make his way to us. Nemesis is effectively the same presence, but just turned up to 11. Nemesis is much faster, much stronger, and much more persistent. While there were moments of downtime with Mr. X, Nemesis never even gives us room to breathe. He will follow us across rooms and through doorways. He will dash across the entire area just to get to Jill. He is difficult to avoid, but our best option is honestly just to run from him. And Nemesis is honestly the scariest part of the game. It takes the pressure and intensity from Resident Evil 2's Mr. X and fully activates it. Nemesis is designed this way to adjust itself to the larger scope of Resident Evil 3. If Nemesis moved just as fast as Mr. X, then he wouldn't be as imposing of a presence in the wider, more open streets of Raccoon City. But this brings me to another point about Resident Evil 3. The game includes two difficulty options from the very start, easy mode and hard mode. Hard mode is actually just the normal mode of the game, but honestly, the difference between these two modes isn't just how difficult the game is, but in my opinion, hard mode actually sort of ruins the vibe of this game. Because there's such a lack of emphasis on the atmosphere of this game, the difficulty doesn't feel like it lends itself any more to the ambiance of the game. Playing on easy mode does provide you with a variety of different weapons from the start of the game. This gives the game, which has a higher pace, bigger action sequences, and a larger scope, a more action-oriented feel. And this doesn't mean that I don't like the harsher survival horror elements in a more action-oriented game. I just felt like I had more fun on my easy mode playthrough than the one I did on hard mode. Regardless, entering the police station sees us retreading some of the ground that we did in Resident Evil 2, though technically we're getting here well before Leon and Claire did. We can venture into the offices nearby and find Marvin Branagh after he's already been bitten. We can find a memo on his body that notes how Branagh was looking into a damaged jewel clock at one of the nearby gates. This is one of our first objectives, to get the missing jewels for this strange gate mechanism. One of them happens to be inside of the RPD. We can also visit the STARS office, and as Jill leaves, she hears a breaking up radio communication from someone named Carlos. He's outputting an SOS as his platoon has been cut off and they're being taken over by zombies. On the way back through the building, we are assaulted and chased by Nemesis once again. Even if we killed him before, he has risen again with seemingly no issue. We'll eventually end up at a restaurant where we can find some background information on Raccoon City and how integral Umbrella was to the whole place. Shortly after this, we can gain access to a hatch in the kitchen. As soon as we do this, though, an Umbrella mercenary named Carlos shows up. Jill is, of course, upset that Carlos works for Umbrella, the company she considers the enemy at this point. Carlos was sent here as a part of a group that was meant to save the civilians of Raccoon City, but things went south pretty quickly. As Jill is having this conversation, Nemesis appears again, and we have another live selection moment. We can either run into the basement or hide inside the kitchen. Hiding inside the kitchen seems like the better option because this label is probably the worst in the entire game. Hide inside the kitchen actually means run outside of the kitchen and blow the entire thing up. This defeats Nemesis, and if playing on hard mode, Nemesis will drop another piece of weaponry here. We can exit out the back door where Jill asks Carlos why his team was sent here in the first place. Carlos claims that they were sent only to rescue civilians, but Jill uses this moment to argue the morality of Umbrella being involved in the cleanup of their own mess.
Why did Umbrella send your team here?
Our mission is to rescue the civilians.
How kind of you. Considering Umbrella caused all this in the first place, those liars.
But Carlos ensures that he separates him and his company from Umbrella. They're only mercenaries, and he requests that Jill join them before rushing off to investigate other noises throughout the city. After this, we can continue our search for the missing gems. We end up in a burning building that almost explodes as we're passing through it. Upstairs, we can find the second of 2 gems we need. We can also find an interesting memo from a reporter that was looking into the cannibal disease that was spreading throughout the city. They knew that the city held the key to the disease's cure and creation, but they were still tracing down leads. The funniest thing about this note, though, is just how often it uses the word disease. I have heard rumors that many people are also suffering from this disease now. However, the causes of the disease is not yet known. Is this another mystery of the present disease? As we exit the building with both gems in hand, Nemesis attacks once again, and it's quite a tense chase to get back down to the entrance of this building. But by placing the gems inside of the gate contraption, we can gain access to a new area. Here we can travel through the Lonsdale Yard and eventually reach a train. Inside, Jill will meet another survivor from Carlos's team, a man named Nikolai. He walks away once he learns that Jill is a member of STARS. There's a wounded soldier laying on the bench of the train. He's not entirely with it and seems to be fading in and out. He thinks he's still being attacked, and Jill tells him it'll be alright before talking to Carlos in the next car. Nikolai thinks they can't trust Jill because she's a part of STARS. Carlos correctly recognizes the situation, that group loyalties will get them nowhere in an outbreak this dire.
No, we can't trust her.
Sergeant, we need her help. Our unit's down to you, me, and Lieutenant Mikhail. That's it. And Mikhail's hurt bad. If we don't cooperate, we won't be walking away from this mission.
Nikolai eventually relents and tells Jill their current plan. They're trying to make it to the St. Michael Clock Tower to meet up with a chopper that will act as their evac out of the city. Because the city has already been destroyed and roads have been blocked, they need to use the train car to get to the clock tower. Carlos then gives Jill an extra pack that increases our inventory space. At this point, our overall goal is to get the train running again. For this, we need 3 parts: a power cable, some machine oil, and a fuse. We can get the machine oil by heading to a nearby gas station where we meet Carlos again. Zombies end up tracking the two down, and Carlos has to head outside to defend the building. After we solve a puzzle and get the machine oil, though, the place blows up, enveloping the gas station in hellfire as the two barely make it out alive. This leaves Carlos to head out again, looking for more materials. We'll eventually have to take and place some items in the statue of the mayor of Raccoon City, Michael Warren. This will give us a battery that we can use to get an elevator down into a construction area of the city, which allows us into the substation. Here we can get the fuse, but we're quickly set upon by a massive group of zombies. If we decide to run away, Nemesis will actually show up and take some of the zombies out for us, but we will then be forced to deal with him. If we increase the electricity output, we'll explode zombie heads like it's nothing, giving us a clear path back out of this place. Something I should also note that makes its first appearance in Resident Evil 3 are interactable objects in the environment. And by interactable, I actually mean shootable objects. These can be red barrels that explode when hit with a bullet, a transformer box on the wall, or a loose valve on a pipe. This is another tool that the game gives us to deal with the increased amount of zombies in this entry, because there are so many more enemies than there were last time. We need some way to thin those numbers. Interacting with these objects just feels great, especially on the harder modes. A huge group of zombies is a terrifying sight because we know we're going to have to spend tons of ammo to clear them out, or expend health objects to run away from them. But exploding an entire group with the use of a wall transformer leaves us relieved that we can use 1 or 2 bullets to deal with multiple enemies. Remember, Resident Evil is a game about efficiency. Now that we have the machine oil and the fuse, we still need the power cable and an additive for the fuel. The power cable can be found in a car in a nearby garage. The additive can be found in a sales office. We find Nikolai crouching over the body of a dead soldier from his party. He admits to shooting Murphy because he was bitten. He takes a cold approach to the soldier's death. He would have died anyway and even turned beforehand, so what's the problem? But Jill takes umbrage with this. He was still conscious. He was still alive. There was still a chance. Nikolai rationalizes the action by saying that it took fewer bullets to kill him now than it would have if he was a zombie. Honestly, he's kind of got a point there. Seems like Nikolai knows how to conserve his ammo. He must have played the first 2 games. Nikolai is typing things into his computer, and we have to gain access to the back room here. We need the password for a computer, which a nearby note tells us is a word that everyone will know, a common word. We can use a remote to watch a commercial on the TV for an everyday medicine. Interestingly enough, the solution to this puzzle is randomized. There are only a few solutions that the game can cycle through, but it could be different between your playthrough and mine. There's a lot of puzzles like this in the game, and I think it was the first game in the series to have dynamic puzzle solutions. I love this change, and I think that not only does it make the game more dynamic, it requires you to actually interact with the puzzle instead of just looking up the solution. Getting the additive from the back room gives us all the items we need to fix the train, but as we grab it, zombies start pouring into the building. And I just have to say that I love this cutscene. It's pretty short, as most of the FMVs in this game are, but it's so well done, especially for the time period. The undead pouring into the windows, the way that the blinds bend and break, it just looks so cool and lends itself to the atmosphere of Resident Evil really well. We have to deal with this group of zombies, and we can find the place where Nikolai was, but we see that both Nikolai and Murphy are gone. Nikolai's computer has been broken as well, so we can't access it. Heading back, we'll be chased once again by Nemesis, and at this point, he's gained a rocket launcher as well, meaning that if we're running away from him down any straight paths, then we need to zig and zag to make sure we can avoid him. On our way back through the garage, Jill gets caught in an earthquake, and we have another split decision. This is probably one of the least impactful decisions, as we really will just gain access to a small underground area if we jump down. Generally, I avoid the boxes and continue forward, as it's the faster route to our destination. On our way back to the train, we experience another earthquake, and this one captures Jill no matter what. She ends up underground, and we're quickly attacked by a large worm. We'll have to quickly get out of here because this thing will eat our health pretty fast. We can activate the ladder controls and escape the place to finally get to the train and get out of this crumbling city. Once we fix the train, we tell Carlos about Nikolai's fate. Carlos decides to operate the car, and we immediately hear a disturbance come from the other room. Nemesis is in the other cabin, and the wounded Mikhail uses the last of his strength to fend off the beast so that Jill can get away.
Jill, get out of the cable car now!
Mikhail, wait, don't!
Get out of here! Hurry!
We have another decision here, to use the emergency brake or to jump out the window. This choice will determine where we enter the clock tower, either through the front or the back. It will also make the boss fight with Nemesis later easier or harder. I decided to jump out the window in the playthrough you're seeing here, allowing me to enter the clock tower through the back door. The train crashes and Jill awakes in the burning wreckage, barely making it out before she's swarmed by more undead. Now that we're in the clock tower, we do actually have a sort of makeshift stronghold for a very brief period of time. We meet Carlos pretty quickly, who seems to have made it out of the horrific train crash unscathed. Carlos basically says that there's no time to rest, we need to keep moving, and then walks away. In the main room of the clock tower, we can find a dead member of the Umbrella team who had written orders on his body. The team was sent in to wipe out the infected and get any surviving civilians to the clock tower. Priority was given to Umbrella-affiliated individuals or employees, though. Heading through the building, we can find a few keys that will give us access to the other areas of the clock tower. There's an interesting moment, though, in a safe room. As we're heading from one end of the room to the other, the ceiling of the room shakes. The dust on the ceiling falls, and we hear a loud noise from above. When I first played this section, I was sure that an enemy was going to fall through the ceiling and attack. This brief moment isn't long or drawn out, but it does something incredibly important. Just like Resident Evil 2 made the puzzle rooms no longer safe, with this small scare, Resident Evil 3 makes you question the integrity of the safe room as a concept. In general, safe rooms have always been no combat zones in the Resident Evil series. Enemies cannot enter them, and while in them, you are treated to calming, if not slightly haunting, music. You can switch out your weapons and save without a care in the world, but the implication that an enemy might come crashing through the ceiling makes us question whether the developers are about to break that agreement. If they've decided that the standing truce between the player and developer is no longer upheld, and they shatter it in a blaze of vicious betrayal. They don't, of course. Nothing is allowed to come through the ceiling, and the safe room is intact, but this is a subtle way to make the player feel much less comfortable in the safe room from now on. It's a lingering feeling that lasts the rest of the runtime of Resident Evil 3. Making our way through the clock tower, we have to obtain 2 gears to get the bell functioning again. We'll solve various puzzles to make this happen, and be attacked by Nemesis on the roof. Giant spiders also reappear in this section, and you know what? I didn't really care that much this time. Take that, spiders. Once we obtain both gears, the bell is rung and the team's chopper arrives to pick the group up. We've achieved our happy, idyllic ending once again after a long journey. Just kidding, haha, get pwned, noob. Nemesis shoots down the chopper and we have our first official boss battle of the game. We have to battle Nemesis in the courtyard. It's a pretty tough fight, especially if one of our choices earlier means that Nemesis has his rocket launcher. He will use this ranged weapon and his dashing close-up attack to deliver heavy damage. Luckily, our dodge ability means that we have far less of a problem fighting in these close corridors. When we finally take him out, Carlos comes to Jill's aid. Before the battle even started, Nemesis attacked Jill with one of his strange-looking tentacles. This actually infects Jill with the virus, which we can see during the battle by checking our health status. It will show us the status of infected instead of fine, caution, or danger. After the battle, Jill passes out and Carlos takes her back into the clock tower. He tells Jill that she'll be safe here, but they need to find an antivirus to cure her. There's an absolutely insane line here where Jill says,
I'm okay. Don't feel any pain. But that's what bothers me. If I can't feel anything, then what does that mean?
And like, I get it. This is supposed to just indicate the fact that Jill is losing control of herself due to the virus overtaking her system. But it's this weird, out-of-place, existential line that sets a precedent for how we think about the undead moving forward. Pain equals being alive. Pain equals life. Pain is good. In this world, pain is the only thing that means you haven't been overtaken, that you haven't succumbed to the forces of the undead just yet. That's the world we're in now, a world where losing pain means that you're gone. But Jill isn't quite done just yet. For this short section, we'll actually play as Carlos and try to find a cure for Jill before she turns. As Carlos, we have to head outside of the clock tower and back into the streets. We find a nearby hospital that is host to a new enemy type, a variant of the Hunter from Resident Evil 1. These are a disfigured version of the monsters that we saw before, referred to as the Hunter Beta, a test mutation in its earlier stages. They're spread all throughout the hospital in different forms. Downstairs, we can find Nikolai killing another one of the Umbrella mercenaries. He tells Carlos to not ask any questions, but Tyrell isn't quite dead yet and pulls the pin on his grenade. Nikolai manages to escape out the window and Carlos heads back into the hospital proper. In a locked safe, we can find a vaccine base, and downstairs we can find another base to mix this with. We have to prepare the serum for the antivirus first, though, which takes solving a puzzle. Once we have it, another Hunter test mutation breaks out of the holding tubes. These are the Hunter Gammas, and they have a fish-like appearance, as well as a greater strength when compared to the Beta. On our way outside, Carlos finds a bomb placed on one of the struts in the lobby. As he leaves the building, it explodes, sending him hurling into the streets. We're chased by Nemesis once again, who seems to have survived his encounter with Jill and mutated into a stronger, faster form. Finding Jill, we can give her the vaccine we created in the hospital. He tells her that Nemesis is back and seems to think that it's specifically seeking her out. Oh geez, you think so, Carlos? Maybe it was the fact that every time he's present, he constantly mutters stars under his breath. Stars, 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 stars. Carlos tells Jill that Nikolai is still alive out there somewhere and that he is their enemy. We regain control of Jill at this point and head back out into the clock tower, where we're immediately met with resistance from Nemesis. We can head across the street and get access into the park, where we find a dead Umbrella merc in the mud. Turns out he was a supervisor, and his goal was to observe and record combat data on the Umbrella soldiers themselves. Afterwards, he was ordered to destroy the medical facility. He was also supposed to monitor the guinea pig's ability to accomplish its mission. This guinea pig could be Tyrant or Nemesis or any other manner of being. Heading through the park, we can enter an underground area and get access to the graveyard. Here we find a hidden Umbrella room behind a fireplace. It's clear that Umbrella was using people as testing guinea pigs. They were even planning on using the virus on prisoners of war to turn them into soldiers against their own comrades. We also find a memo in this room from Umbrella HQ ordering the Raccoon City project abandoned. They were trying to use their political connections to get things covered up, but it didn't work out. The US Army is planning on activating some sort of plan in the morning to obliterate the city. On the way out, a signal is put out to the nearby console telling all supervisors from Umbrella to evacuate. Nikolai shows up once again and tells Jill that the teams were sent out here for data collection. They didn't know the Umbrella soldiers would be killed, but they wanted to see them in action. As another earthquake starts, Nikolai heads out for his own safety. Outside, Jill is dragged underground to fight our second official boss fight of the game, the Gravedigger. The Gravedigger is a giant mutated worm that digs through the ground and attacks with its giant circular mouth. We basically just blast it full of bullets and get out of the way. When it dies, a grate nearby falls down and we can escape. Back out in the park, Jill encounters Nemesis on a hanging bridge. We have two options here, to jump or to push Nemesis off of the bridge. This is actually a pretty big choice and will affect the ending of the game. I'll talk about its implications once we get to the finale, but for now, this choice really just affects whether we enter the next area through the top floor or the sewers. Personally, I prefer jumping off the bridge myself, but only because other people told me to. With this, Jill is attacked by a group of zombies and Carlos comes in to save the day.
Rescuing you is becoming a full-time job.
Thanks, Carlos.
Carlos has found out that at dawn, the US government will be launching a missile at Raccoon City to wipe it out. We can investigate this facility, which turns out to be an Umbrella plant disguised as a deserted factory. The soldiers inside were permitted to shoot any civilians that arrived on site, and if they surrendered, they would become guinea pigs for the lab itself. The plant also contained an advanced containment system, which locked the entire facility down when contamination was detected. Our main goal in the facility is to make it through the lockdown. The first puzzle we have to solve is a water contamination puzzle. I'll be honest, I had to look up the solution for this one. I spent probably 10 different minutes trying combinations here. The goal is to match the result frequency with the sample frequency at the top represented by these green bars. We make these green bars by basically adding up the A, B, and C frequencies together. So if the sample bar in column 1 is 3 stacks high, then a bar needs to be present in A, B, and C for column 1. And if there's 2, then it should only be present in 2 of those, so on and so forth. But because there's 3 variables here and tons of different combinations, it just felt like guessing randomly at a certain point. Once we complete this puzzle, we are halfway to unlocking the door that we need to enter. Heading through the facility, we will encounter many test subjects in the area, stronger versions of the zombies we met out on the street. I should also note that zombies can actually be much faster in this entry. Certain zombies will rush to you much quicker, making them a bit more dangerous of a foe than before. It can be kind of annoying just because you expect to be able to kill them before they reach you if you're a certain distance away. But I suppose that feeds back into the dynamic system and unpredictability. We can find Nikolai in the factory at a certain point, but he heads behind a locked shutter, getting away before we can reach him. We can find the diary of a manager of the facility in one of these safe rooms. The manager was quite happy to start working here, but slowly fell into despair after he realized what was happening at the place. They didn't have enough space for all the bodies they had to dispose of in the testing process and quickly ran through the antibodies for the virus. The mutation quickly outgrew the vaccine that they had created, making it obsolete and killing their hopes of keeping the virus under control. Gathering enough keys and solving a few puzzles gives us access into the locked door of the facility, the treatment room. Here we'll face the second form of Nemesis, and a timer will count down at the top of the screen. If this timer reaches 0, the floor opens up and we're sent into a pool with the rest of the grotesque bodies and mutations in here. This fight actually isn't too hard because the valves on the sides of the room will let out a mixture that stuns Nemesis. This makes it easy to get tons of damage off on the boss before he gets back up. Once Nemesis is finally defeated, we can leave the room and watch as it falls into the contaminated water. We can then head out of the facility, finally able to make our getaway. But as we head to the control room, we find that Nikolai has already taken the chopper nearby. We can either negotiate with him and see him abandon us in the facility, or we can have a separate boss battle where we fire shots at him and his chopper. Either way, we have no chopper to leave this place, and a missile strike is incoming, noted not by a countdown timer, but a distance meter at the top of our screen. Carlos maintains that it isn't over, and he's going to find a way to get them out of the city. As we head down into the final sections of the laboratory, we have one final boss battle of this game. Nemesis returns once again in his final form, a grotesque amalgamation of flesh and pulsing sacks of God knows what. In this room sits a massive railgun. This gun requires 3 batteries to get a sufficient charge off. While Nemesis chases us, we have to run around the room and push these massive batteries back into place. After this, the railgun blasts a huge hole in the machinery before it. We have to lure Nemesis in front of the gun so that it can blast him. He's reduced to a small little mutation, wriggling on the ground. We have one final choice, to exterminate him for good or to leave him to his fate. It doesn't really matter what we choose. Nemesis either dies by Jill's gun as she delivers her action hero one-line,
You want stars? I'll give you stars.
or Nemesis is destroyed by the incoming missile. Outside, Carlos tells Jill that a second chopper has arrived to bring them to safety. Stepping on the chopper, we realize it's Barry Burton. Another STARS member has arrived to save Jill and take her away to finish Umbrella off once and for all. The missile strikes and Raccoon City is obliterated. Jill's home is gone in an instant, wiped off the face of the earth. Umbrella's consequences and their sins are wiped away for good. The game then ends with a news report about the explosion. Now, if we choose to push Nemesis off of the bridge earlier in the game, then Jill and Carlos get their own helicopter out of this place, because Nemesis kills Nikolai and he doesn't have a chance to steal the vehicle. So Barry only appears if we choose to jump off the bridge, which is why it's my preferred choice in that moment. This ending sort of marks the end of a pretty distinct era for the Resident Evil series. It marks the end of the Raccoon City trilogy. Raccoon City is no more, and the story would have to break the bounds of that location after this. After beating the game, we can unlock one of 8 epilogues that will give us a very brief update on what happened to the characters of the games after the end of this story. These epilogues unlock randomly and require beating the game 8 times to get all of them. So what happened to our favorite STARS members and soldiers once they got out?
Today is gonna be quite the speedrun though. Not like yesterday. Today we gotta go fast. Anything I dislike about this game? For sure. I don't know what. No, right now. But yeah, there's definitely. No autosave. Parrying is limited to perfect parries. All weapon modifications will be available from the start. Okay. Nice. Interesting. Watch bonuses. Yeah, I can unlock stuff here. Is that accessory for Ashley? For Leon? Yeah, there's some cool shit you can have. No new weapons yet, because you need to be professional with an A rank. Or be professional without any... And all clockwork. Okay, yeah.
Hi guys, welcome back. We're back with another shoe on head video.
What it's like making money with indie game development. The last video we watched was basically the guy saying, since games take so long to make and at the end of the journey you don't know if you're selling your game, it's best to sell art because then you can be sure that you're selling the art while you're making the game and earning money. I think the sentiment that we got from this was a little bit too negative, aka it's very unlikely that you're gonna sell your game. But since it's so unlikely, how about you just make some art and sell the art, which it can take focus away from making the game. It can work as well, and there's multiple ways to do that. It doesn't need to be 3D art and pixel art too, but I feel like we need to know a little bit more what it's like to make money as an indie game developer. Let's see. Are they already earning money with their game? What is it called? The game? Why is it not here? I don't understand why these people never link their game as the first thing. So that's the game. It's not out yet though. So I wonder how they are earning money. Let's see.
Hey guys, I'm Brandon from Sasquatch Bee Studios, and if you don't know my story, over 2 years ago now, I quit my job, I sold my house, and my wife and I have been building this indie game dev studio together. And most of you...
I mean, studio, you mean house?
watching this are probably indie developers. And I know that a lot of you watching this are working on your games part-time.
Holy Holy man, this guy has a crazy camera. Holy, what was this? Is that a coffee mug? That's huge, man. This guy needs a lot of coffee, bro.
I'm outside of a normal full-time job. And I know that for a lot of you, getting to the point where you're actually able to quit your job and work on games full-time is the ultimate dream. So I just want to...
It's the ultimate dream, and you shouldn't do it too early. I did it way too early in my journey, and then I had a bunch of trouble with builds piling up. So you should quit your job when you have a demo version out on Steam. You have a demo version out on Steam, and that's not the only thing. The demo version needs to have a constant 1 to 2 players every day. That's a reasonably good sign. And we just got some feedback or some example of a game that actually had that. Let me show you, because I think that's important. And yes, it's already 28 seconds in, but I think it's important to say this at the very beginning, okay? Not at the end, at the beginning. Because then people, you know, see, like, listen. So here's a game from a viewer that we played today. You can see that we have 1 player right now. There's a 24-hour peak of 6 players. And the game released to about 1 to 2 players on Steam. It took him about a year to make this game. Well, 9 months. And he sold a surprisingly high amount of units, over 1,000 units. So with this money, and the game sold for, let me show you. Actually, I need to open up Steam for this. Give me a sec. Actually, let's do this. On Steam, there we go. The game sits at 29 reviews. So it's not that many reviews, yet the game sold surprisingly well. And that's amazing, because then you can use this money and the first game as your springboard for your next game. And as you should only quit your game when you already have a game out or a Steam demo version out that tells you that the game is good. And you need to have a baseline of 1 to 2 players every day. Better yet, about a medium playtime on your demo of more than 10 minutes minimum. Otherwise, when you quit your job, you start selling your game, you will be left with a couple of sales, maybe less than 10 reviews for ages, and you will starve to death. Very likely that that's going to happen. Not saying that it will happen, but it's very likely. Comparatively to other games that we have seen.
Share my reality of what it's
including
been like
my game, by the way, including my game.
Be a full-time entrepreneur running an indie studio. And just to paint you a little picture so that you've got the full story, I do not have employees. I have not made it big. I'm still working on my first game, and I'm not working on it full-time.
Okay, so then how do you earn money when you haven't released the game yet? So
Not even
that's
close,
a bit interesting.
because the stuff that's actually been paying the bills takes up the majority of my time. But as I...
Aha, so he's trying to pay the bills before releasing the first game, which is, in my opinion, that's what I'm trying to do too. This is the hard mode. In my opinion, you shouldn't quit your job and try to pay the bills with an unfinished project. You should start to... See, do it like Kenshi. Here's a good example. I'm pausing so much. I'm so sorry. I will stop pausing after this. I promise you. I will stop pausing, okay? Kenshi. Now, obviously, you can't make Kenshi. Well, it depends, right? But Kenshi went into early access. Copium. Kenshi went into early access. And ever since going into early access, a very long time ago, it's been paying the bills for the developer. And he had to have a side job in the very beginning. Look at this, 9 years ago. There we go, 160 players. Ever since this happened, he's been able to fund the game. It's just been growing. Look at these numbers. It's amazing. And so, if you want to quit your job, have at least something out that pays your bills, unless you just want to become a YouTuber or streamer. Then do that. If you listen, I've been trying to be game developer, YouTuber, streamer for 3 years now. It's slowly going up, but man, it's so much hard work, and it's easier to just release a game, see if it sells well, and then quit your job with those sales. You will move faster if your goal is to be a game developer. That's the important part.
Recently said in our Q&A video, we're squeaking by. We're managing to pay our bills with this studio. And we've been living off of savings from the sale of our house for a really long time. That was our shortcut into getting to do this full time. So let me just say, first and foremost,
are you still working on the show?
That I would never recommend that anyone take this path. Obviously, you should always, first and foremost, do what is best for you and what's best for your family. But we made a big jump. We took a big risk. I've always been prepared to have to go back to get a full-time job if I had to, but it's never reached that point. Now, I just want to say that running a game studio and figuring out how to pay the bills with an indie studio is a challenge and a joy. There are a lot of contradictory emotions when it comes to doing this. There are hardships, there are triumphs. And I don't want to scare you away from chasing your dreams, but I also don't want to coddle you and make you think that every day is like Christmas doing this either. I just want to tell you what it's been like for us, because my experience is the only one I know. Now, my experience—
What am I reading? He can't hear you, bro. It's a YouTube video. I know. I'm still nodding though. Okay.
Has been that you will both suffer from and fall in love with the entrepreneurship factor, which is waking up in the morning when you decide to wake up in the morning, having nowhere to go and nothing to do that day except where you decide to go and what you decide to do. And that is both—
You work on the game. I mean, it's obvious. You work on the game. Like you wake up, you work on the game, bro. What do you mean? Well, I guess you don't have to, but you gotta work on the game. Right?
Both amazing and absolutely terrifying at the same time. But after you quit your job, you'll be riding a high on that for a little while. But
No, you won't. Unless maybe he did. Okay, so yes, you do. Because the value of being able to do what you love is awesome, but you will feel bad at the same time if you don't have anything that supports you at that very moment and you know that you're running on a timer. That stress is immeasurable. You have no idea. I lost my cable again. Bro, stop it. The stress of having no income and knowing that your income or your savings will run out, bro, that's insane. I'm telling you. Are you in a dressing
gown? Mortgage?
No, I'm in
rent.
a bath.
You have gas and your car and hydro and water and internet and cell phones, and you don't even have benefits anymore to go to the dentist or get new glasses or anything like that. Why do you think I've been wearing crooked glasses for the last 2 years on this channel? But it's life, right? You have all these things that you need to pay for, and you have no stable paycheck or knowledge of where 100% of your future revenue is going to come from. So you get to work at your own pace, you get to set your own hours, and you get to work on whatever you feel like working on that day until you feel like being done.
I think that's the best part, being able to work on what you feel like working on. That's
for the day. But as an indie developer, if you're doing it full time, especially if you're like us at this studio and you're kind of still finding your footing and you don't have any game revenue coming in from past games, then you've probably got some hard choices to make. One of them is, what is the right action to take that day? Because for some of you, and this is the case for me a lot of the time, working on your game, for me, working on Samurado, that's not always the best course of action for me to take that day, which sounds really weird because I'm a game developer. But currently, on a day-to-day basis, working on—
I think that's a very special situation that 95% of people don't have. 95% of people that want to make a game, they don't quit their job early. They make the game next to their job. So for them, it's finding the free time to work on the game. And I did that before I started quitting my job. It was in the mornings before waking up. That was the best time for me to work on the game because I knew that early in the morning, no one was up. No one was going to bother me, email me, telephone me. There was no person in my room. Everyone was sleeping and it was completely quiet. So that's when I got the best work in. And you are fresh waking up. So, well, most people are not fresh when they wake up. I'm fresh when I wake up. So that means my brain is at maximum loading capacity. It's fully loaded, charged, and I can just put all of that energy into working 2 to 3 hours, a reasonable amount of time, and you get so much done. What he's describing is the path that not many people do, is where you quit your job before you actually even have a concept of a game. You might just have an idea and you have dabbled in game development before. Which I think is yeah, as you said, dumb path to take.
Game
it's not
doesn't pay the bills. It will eventually pay.
The game doesn't pay the bills, so you have to find something else to pay the bills. And your options are as follows: you sell art, You sell maybe game code if you're doing Unreal stuff. You sell asset packs for Unity. And you can maybe sell a very, very small game, but that means you're not working on your game. And you might be able to find some freelance work, or you're going the YouTuber route, which is very risky. You can literally sit there for years and not even get 1,000 subscribers. All of these routes are really bad. Like they are so bad. And the thing is, also, when you make YouTube videos about game development, no one cares about that because you haven't released a game yet, aka you haven't proven to anyone that you can actually make a game. So why should I listen? So why should anyone listen to me? I have the same problem. I'm telling you, that's the bad route. You should stay in your job. That's the best thing.
But until it's made, it's not going to pay me anything. So for us at this studio, a big part of our entrepreneurship factor is figuring out, okay, how can we work on Samurado and continue to make progress on this game all the time while finding ways to earn enough to pay our bills that month so that we can continue to work on our game.
They make YouTube.
That's ultimately why we decided to stop just focusing on devlogs on this channel and make so much more content. I'm still neck deep in indie content every single day that I'm working, whether it's working on Samurado or writing the script for this video, or making a Unity tutorial, or talking to sponsorship partners and just dealing with all of that. I love what I do.
I see. So the way they earn money is by sponsorship money from YouTube as well. That's also reasonable.
I don't always get to work on my game as much as I would like, and it drives me crazy. So if you were planning on starting your own studio...
Bro, title always says working on demo, but when I hop in, he never works on the demo. You're actually... listen, man, you just got bad timing. We've literally been working on the demo for over 2 hours, okay? You just got unlucky. Okay, I always work for at least minimum 1 to 2 hours every day on the demo. And I need to be quiet. Yeah, I will. I'm so sorry. Warum? Warum? In 10? 10? Ach so, weil die rauskommen. Okay, tut mir leid. I'm sorry. Okay. Guys,
so this might not be the case.
We must flüstern right now, okay? So
for you, but it could be that you might need to think about what kind of studio you want to run. Because at least as far as I can see it, there are only 2 kinds. One is the kind that works 100% full-time on...
I love this game. This guy is the inspiration for me making games, by the way. He's the one that pushed me to make games. How many of you guys got inspired by the Stardew Valley creator? Put a 1 in chat if you got inspired by Concerned Ape making a game. In my opinion, he is the number 2. This chat is
on their game. It's obviously possible. There are lots of studios out there that do this. The second kind is the kind that works part-time on their game and part-time on other revenue-generating activities, which I think is the case for a lot of indie developers who also have YouTube channels. So it's possible to work on your game full-time, but if you were working full-time on your game, how are you keeping the lights on? Did you accumulate some savings? Did you find a grant or an investor? Savings, or maybe you found a publisher streaming, or you got a Kickstarter funded. But no matter where your funding came from, there are going to be expectations of when your game is going to be released. I don't like funding. So there's just a lot of all this in running your own...
I don't like funding because it puts you on a timer, essentially. I think funding is bad, and maybe there's even an obligation contractually that tells you that you have to put away 10% of the money and give that back to the guys that funded you. So you're missing out on revenue at the end, only to have an easier development curve. I think it's easier to just have a side job.
Indie studio.
And then also use the money from the side job to feed yourself, but also pay people to do art. Look at Code Red Games. Okay, that's the last example, I promise you guys, but then we move on, okay? Code Red Games made a game like this. Rogue Blight. We played the game. It's an amazing game. He was even featured by Asmongold on his stream. You guys probably have heard about this. He made a demo recently that got very popular. He has 665 followers on Steam, and he has close to 10,000 wish lists by this point. So if he were to release the game, he would easily get the 10 reviews. He's my friend? Really? Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. He's doing it right. He's working on a job, working on a game, and he's putting the money into art and sound effects and music. And listen, I'll show you a small clip. A little bit. Just a little bit.
Fought countless battles.
He has a nice narration voice. Look at this. Really good stuff.
Across this cursed land.
All looks very high professional. You know, it's awesome. It's really awesome. I think that's the right way to do it. He's been working for years on this, yeah, while it's working.
Non-game dev related things. There's a lot of business. There's a lot of money discussions and budgeting and all of that. I like to think of myself as a...
I haven't bought myself socks or boxer shorts, aka undergarments, in over 5 years.
Creative.
They have holes everywhere, man. Guys, when we release the game and we are remotely successful, we're gonna go out into the store and buy ourselves some other.
And constantly having to mix business stuff with creative stuff isn't always my favorite thing. I don't want to have to think about money, but this is the reality of running an indie studio. So if you're thinking about starting your own indie studio, there are a million ways of getting funding and finding success in this industry. But no matter which road you go down, there are going to be a lot of elements involved that are not game dev, and a lot of them are not fun, but they are important. So let's talk about time for a second. On a regular workday, I get up, I get the kids ready for school, I drop them off, and then I come home to an empty house with my wife and complete and total freedom. Now, I've noticed that there are two ways that this can go, and it's weird. One is you might suddenly start noticing all of the stuff around the house that needs to get done. The dishes, the laundry, the garden needs weeding.
No, I think that's normal. So have you guys ever noticed you need to do something, but then you clean up your room first? You know what this is called? You make yourself feel good, get something done. It's procrastination at one point, but it also makes you keep your house in check. It's procrastination, yes, but it's also giving you a good feeling, a sense of accomplishment, because you feel like the one that you're gonna do is not gonna give you any accomplishment. It is a form of procrastination, but it's also a good thing.
Something in the house is broken and you need to repair it, or you might even just be feeling really lazy all of a sudden and you just have trouble forcing yourself to get to work for that day. Okay, that's one way. But I often struggle with the other thing that often happens, which is you sit down and you start working and you don't know how or when to stop working. When I had a job, any job, I never really cared about how much I got done in a workday. I did enough to keep my boss off of my back, but when 4:30 hit, that was it. I was done. And I never gave work a second thought. When you're...
My man, Mr. Amida, thank you so much for gifting 2 subs to the community, bro. I really appreciate the support, man. I do the bad type of procrastination, like watching game dev streamers. Like me. I think what you should do, and I have the same thing sometimes, try to work undisturbed for an hour. Or if you can't do an hour, do 15 minutes. What you do here is you close every single application on your computer other than your coding editor, whether that be Unity, Unreal Engine, whatever you use. You close all of that and then you do that for 15 minutes. You can time it. And most of the time, that 15 minutes turns into way more than that. And that's these little things. If you just say 15 minutes, that will allow you to get way more progress done, because usually you are extending the 15 minutes, get way more progress done than watching a video or watching a streamer on the other side and then trying to work at the same time. Because you will be distracted a lot, you need to back into it, then you get distracted by someone else calling you, then you're getting back into it. It's so much distraction that over the course of 2 hours, you get less done than in 20 minutes. You know Tokyo Spliff Cakes? He literally works 12 hours straight without even eating food sometimes. Yeah, but he is. And that's amazing. I couldn't do that because I'm addicted to food. Okay, but he smokes. So... smoking is a form of Ablenkung in English that I don't know the word of, that helps you get over your food cravings a little bit. So when I was smoking at teenage years, I never really had any issues with food. Alcohol got calories into. Does he drink calories? Alcohol as well? Well, I guess. But yeah. Half-leaning, same. So yeah, smoking can just... is it distraction?
Running your own studio, at least my experience has been... I never really feel like I'm done my workday, ever, at any point in the day. Maybe I edited a whole tutorial that day. Who cares? I didn't get any Samurado time in. Maybe I spent a whole day working on Samurado. Who cares? I didn't manage to record my podcast or record my video that day. There's always, always, always more to be done. So I work until my kids are done school, and then I go and I pick them up, bring them home, and then I usually work until dinner time. We make supper and...
Okay, and what do you do with the kids? They just play with each other or something? Like, you're not watching over kids? Is your wife watching over the kids? What are the kids doing? You need to watch over the kids too, bro. Huh?
We eat, and I spend a little bit of time with my kids, but I still didn't get everything done on my list, so back to work I go. And on a lot of days, it's bedtime, and I'm still on my computer working.
Yeah,
and
that's
I'm
for me
sure
too.
that this sounds absolutely miserable.
I think that's normal, even if you're just working on the game. The Stardew Valley creator had the same issue. He was working 10, 12-hour days sometimes. Sometimes, not all the time, sometimes. I think that's just normal. You're working on something that you love doing, and you just don't stop because there's always something more to do.
Here's the thing, though. I love the work that I do. And what's more is I care about the work that I do, unlike what I did at my job. I take pride in the work that I do. I'm in my late 30s and I'm making way less money than I did when I was in my early 20s. But I love what I do, which I think is more important. But the great part about the entrepreneurship factor is if I run this indie studio right, then my income should continue to increase from this business. I don't want to put the message out there that if you're running your own indie studio, you will be poor unless you make a smash hit. That absolutely does not have to be true. So the reality has been...
I think he's got a good point here. That's how I see it too. So for example, I try to find ways to earn money and earn a living without relying 100% on my game. The game will be in addition to what I already earn and hopefully push me, let's say, over the edge of, let's call that unemployment, being I don't have to have a side job anymore. That would be the most amazing thing in the world. But I'm trying to get to a point where, despite the game being good or bad, I would still be able to support myself, because then we can solely focus on making good games. And I think that's a much better environment for breeding good games than stressful times of, oh, I can't pay my bills, I need to bring it out right now. I think that's a good point. So he thinks the same I do. And I think that's nice. But I think it's better to just release the game and work on your side job. Keep working your job and then release the game when it's done, see how it does, and then quit the job after that.
Has felt a lot more like I'm trying to run and operate a profitable business more than I'm just sitting in my office coding my dream game all day long. It's been a lot of time management, budgeting, working on YouTube, and yes, working on my game as well. It's been a very different
Okay, is there a breakdown of how much you earn on different things
journey than I thought it would be when I first started, but I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. Running an indie studio for me has a lot of elements that I don't necessarily like, but everything else offsets that. It's still incredible and it's still the ultimate dream. And I owe it all to you guys. I want to say thank you. Thank you for tuning in and watching the videos. Thank you to my patrons. None of this would be possible without you guys. If you enjoyed the video, then thank you if you leave a like or a comment. See you in the next one. Bye.
Peace. Peace. Okay, so. Bro, I didn't click on that.
Hey, guys.
So fast, brother. Did not click on this. So, that's another one that's mostly doesn't apply to like 95% of game developers out there, which is a bit unfortunate. Do you have a Patreon? Yeah, but I'm not advertising it. I advertised my code on Patreon, but listen, it's already too much. I don't want to advertise Patreon. I will switch to something else in the future. Did you make a progress on the game today, Cakes? Yes, I did. I did. Make some decent progress. I think you becoming a Twitch streamer is better than an indie game developer. After this game, maybe work on games for fun. I want to continue to make big games, but I want to continue to be a streamer too, yes. So for me, and that also doesn't apply to almost anyone out there, it's more fun to stream and make games than to just make games. Because I like the discussion around games. And so for everyone it's different, but for the majority of people, when you're making your game for the first time, it's best to stay in your job and fund the game development and not go down the route that I went down or this guy went down, because it's too risky. That being said, however, there are very good success stories that worked out when you quit your job and basically set everything on one card. But again, I think it's best to follow the example. It's best to follow the example of the Stardew Valley creator. Have a side job if that's enough to support yourself. Part-time job is reasonable, and then put all the other time into making your game. Follow Cakes on Instagram, become a Patreon subscriber, buy Cakes Craftings on Etsy, match Cakes on Grindr. That's how you advertise. Anyways, okay, good video. I wish them the best of luck with their first game. Hopefully it does well. And here's the link if you want to support them further.
Hello.
He didn't have a side job? He did have a side job. He was working as a... I don't know the name, but for hotels.
There has very much been a cultural revolution within the video game industry between the players and the publishers and the media, and a lot of it has been platformed off of Steam. Not actively, so to say, more passively than anything else, because it's one of the only places, it's one of the only platforms where the customer still has a voice, and that voice can be heard. We just don't see that in a lot of other places. And I don't think a lot of people have picked up on this, but not only has Steam been getting more popular, they've been on a warpath. They've been setting up rules and regulations for all of these other publishers to follow, and if they don't fall in line, well, then they're not going to be on Steam, and these guys want to be on Steam. And I realize that a lot of people are going to push back and say that's a lot of power for one company to have, and you're absolutely right in that. But from my perspective, they've also become our de facto legislators in an industry that is wildly underregulated. They are putting consumer protections in place in an industry where those consumer protections don't exist. And why are they doing it? Well, it's because they value their audience. We've had plenty of conversations about an industry at war with its own audience. Well, this is the last bastion of that industry where they still care about us. So from hitting 40 million concurrent players on Steam and exposing Activision Blizzard to beating Amazon and not even knowing it, today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the continued success of Steam and how they're drawing battle lines nobody wants to cross. If Steam was ever going to have a competitor, it would have been Amazon, because they have the money, the infrastructure, the Twitch integrations they could do to be able to create something massive, but instead they threw billions at a problem and made nothing. A former Amazon executive admitted as much in a recent article from Windows Central written by Michael Hoagland titled "Amazon Admits Defeat to Steam as Former VP Declares, We were 250 times bigger, but Goliath lost. Just because you're big enough to build something doesn't mean people will use it." Michael writes, in a LinkedIn post, Ethan Evans recalls his loss to Steam when he led the division. "We were at least 250 times bigger, and we tried everything, but ultimately Goliath lost." That's an interesting choice of words when you compare market share. While it's true Amazon by itself is a company that vastly outsizes Steam, no other company has ever held a portion of the PC market like Steam has. To me, they've always been Goliath. It's just been other Goliaths coming to battle them with similar tools and identical features, but a simple change of attire. Ethan admits to misunderstanding what it took to take on the giant. At Amazon, we assumed that size and visibility would be enough to attract customers, but we underestimated the power of existing user habits. We never validated our core assumptions before investing heavily in solutions. The truth is, gamers already had a solution to their problems, and they weren't going to switch to another platform just because a new one was available. When a person is happy, they don't go look elsewhere because something else is available. When a player has a large library of games, achievements, friends, and hours spent on a product platform, what's the reason for them to shift? Beep boop, does not compute. We fail to understand user habits. These suits are complete bots, failing to understand anything about the industry, the games, or the players. Just one time I want to hear these guys say something that genuinely reflects the perspective of the players. Just one time I want them to put themselves in the players' shoes. They were so close saying gamers already have a solution. The issue is these suits don't understand the problem being solved is them. Amazon thought that they could brute force their way into the PC gaming space, but they never understood why people use Steam in the first place. Steam's not just a storefront, it's a platform that's built on trust. Valve isn't some faceless mega corporation chasing quarterly earnings reports. It's a company ran by people who actually understand games. When they make changes, it's almost always in the favor of the developer or the player. They give developers real tools. They don't try to nickel and dime their players. They treat the ecosystem like a living thing, not a cash register. Meanwhile, Amazon thought that they could just throw some money at Twitch streamers, slap together a launcher, and all of a sudden compete with Steam, but they were wrong. Nobody cared. Nobody wanted to use Amazon's half-assed gaming service. Even with all of their unlimited money, they still couldn't buy relevance. And that's why Steam is untouchable. It's not about the games, it's about how the platform treats you. And unlike every other company within this industry, Valve doesn't treat its customers like walking ATMs. Amazon failed, Epic failed, Ubisoft failed. Every single competitor who has tried to take on Steam has failed, and it's because Valve actually respects their customers. Imagine that, a company that doesn't hate us. You know, I'll be honest with you guys, if it wasn't for me actually reading these headlines, I wouldn't even have known that Amazon even had a storefront. That's how little people were talking about it. That's how little people were interested in anything other than Steam. And Steam's success isn't going to be stopping anytime soon because it's part of a much bigger shift in this industry. PC gaming is growing faster than ever, and the data proves it. As reported by IGN in an article titled Steam Tops 40 Million Concurrent Players for the First Time as We All Jump In to Play Monster Hunter Wilds, Vicky Blake reports Steam, the most popular digital game distributor for PC players, has once again broke its own concurrent user record, breaching 40 million concurrent players for the first time. Over the weekend, which just so happened to coincide with Monster Hunter Wilds launch on Friday, February 28th, Steam logged 40,270,997 simultaneous players, breaking its previous record of 39.9 million players set in February 2025. In fact, according to SteamDB, Steam's concurrent record, seen by some as a way of measuring the success of Valve's digital platform, has been broken almost every single month since May 2024, with the concurrent peak rising from 35.5 million players to 40.2 million in just 6 months. So now let's put all this into perspective. Steam isn't just growing, it's growing faster than ever. While gaming platforms are struggling with engagement loss, live service failures, and subscription fatigue, well, Steam is doing the exact opposite. Every single month, their records keep breaking. Every year, their foothold in the industry gets stronger. And that's because PC gaming isn't slowing down, it's accelerating. Consoles used to be the convenient option. Plug it in, press start, and play. But that illusion has started to crack. Next-gen console hardware launched with big promises, but what did the players actually get? 30 FPS modes, aggressive upscaling, missing features, and all the while, these platforms have done little to improve the customer experience. I mean, we have people that are buying the hardware outright, subscribing to play online using the internet they already own, and they're being filtered into a limited ecosystem of games where their reviews mean nothing. They're being bombarded with ads on their dashboard, and they're locked out of basic features. What exactly are these people playing for? Of course they're going to start going to PC. And then we have streaming culture, because more players aren't just playing games anymore, they're creating content. They're streaming on Twitch, editing clips for YouTube, and engaging with gaming in ways that, well, consoles just simply weren't built for. The Steam Deck has made a huge difference as well. This is one of the smartest things that Valve has ever done, because it's not just a handheld PC, it's a bridge. It pulled in console players who had never touched Steam before, and once they saw what was possible, no paid subscriptions for online, full access to an entire library of games, the ability to tweak and mod things whenever you want to, why would you go back? More games, fewer restrictions. Steam doesn't have the same walled garden nonsense that PlayStation, Nintendo, and Xbox do. Early access thrives here. Indie games have a real shot at success. Modding is alive and well, and Valve isn't strong-arming developers into exclusivity deals and trying to push a storefront that nobody wants. But arguably the biggest catalyst for Steam's recent success is actually the launch of Steam China back in 2021. While initially the adoption rate was pretty slow, we've seen with the launch of Black Myth Wukong and more recently Monster Hunter Wilds just how much of an impact that can have. I myself am welcoming my Chinese brethren into the fold because these guys do not put up with poor optimization. Did you guys know that most of the negative reviews on Monster Hunter Wilds were written in simplified Chinese? Steam now has access to one of the biggest consumer markets in the entire world with a population of 1.4 billion people. That's going to have an effect. The numbers don't lie.